friends, welcome to today's video. I thought I would do, I don't know if this is a little different or not, but I assume that some of you who watch my Weight Watchers videos here on YouTube do it for ideas, for inspiration, to hear somebody else talking about their experience. Whatever it is, I find that when we find people who can talk about things that relate to the kind of journey that we're on, it either helps you stay on track, gives you new ideas, as I said, maybe it provides some, I don't want to say motivation, or inspiration, but just sort of gives you different things to think about, or maybe even tells you something you already know, but words it in a different way, or reminds you of it again. All that to say that I thought I would talk to you about some different people, YouTube channels, podcasts, accounts, things that I follow or I watch when I want to learn a little bit more about health, fitness, eating, maybe get some inspiration, or just help keep me on track. So that is what today's video is going to be. I'm going to tell you about all these things. I will also provide as many links as possible down below so that you can go and find these channels and podcasts and Instagram accounts and all of that. And I've made myself a list so I stay on track. So let's start getting into my list. So to start off with, I want to mention one podcast. I am not a huge podcast listener. I find that when I go out for walks or I'm exercising, I tend to listen to music because that kind of keeps my energy up. It helps the time pass faster, but sometimes I do want to listen to somebody. So the one podcast that I have really gotten into, really enjoy, and there's like a huge back catalog of them, is called the Half Size Me podcast. I'm going to forget the woman's name who runs it, but basically she is somebody who has gone through a significant weight loss journey. I think she's now kept the weight off for 7 to 9 years. She runs her own website. She does her own coaching for people who are in the process of losing weight or just maintaining weight, whatever it is. So she really comes at it from an approach that I really appreciate, which is very, this is a long-term thing, very scientific in the way that she comes at it. She does have people who call in and she talks them through some coaching on air, and she is fairly positive about people who are on Weight Watchers because oftentimes people will call in who are following that program, and she does try to work with them, within the program that they're working on. What she tends to focus on though is using things like MyFitnessPal and really understanding the calories that you need and calorie deficit, but also really understands the side around emotions and binge eating, and seems to help people come up with really concrete plans on what they can do for success. And when she talks about these plans, it's never anything that's radical. It's never anything that's like, going to help you lose 20 pounds in 1 month. It's not that. It's like, can you maintain for a certain amount of time? Can you go on a, change your habits a little bit to maintain like a 100 calorie deficit a day? It's very, very logical, very long-term mindset rather than a quick weight loss mindset. And she has been doing these podcasts for, I want to say maybe 7 years. There's a huge amount of them out there. They tend to run about, I want to say half an hour to 45 minutes, but I really like because that gives me a good amount of time to go walking. I don't love it when podcasts are like 20 minutes long because then I feel like I'm jumping through them. But I really do recommend her. I know she also has a whole weight loss community. She really does, like, she's selling in this as well because she has a Half Size Me community. She has different programs that she sells to people. But even though there's that selling aspect in it, it doesn't feel scammy. It's very much that she understands the process and she's trying to help others. I've also found as I go through the different accounts and YouTube channels and things that I talk about, they will often reference each other, and that's often where I've found other ones. And they tend to be people who have the same very balanced mindset towards health and weight loss. And because they're like that, they often reference each other, and I really appreciate that. None of these are people who are like, you need to be in the gym for 2 hours a day, you need to cut your calories down to 1,200, you need to go on like a detox juice cleanse to lose weight. Like, it's none of that. This is all very scientific based, long-term minded, really health at the base of it kind of people and accounts. So that's the first one, is the Half Size Me podcast. I really enjoy it. Also, the titles tend to be very descriptive of what the podcast is about. So you can really go through and find ones that speak to you. I also really appreciate, because I've had issues with binge eating in the past, that she also had issues with binge eating, and she references that a lot and helps other people with it, which really helps me out. I'm going to talk about Instagram for a little bit. Instagram I find is one of those quick fix kinds of things. And what I really find Instagram most useful for me is finding new recipes to try. So there's a couple of accounts that I follow, but I also tend to follow hashtags, and you can do that. So when people post things with that hashtag, if there's a certain level of popularity, I think it comes up in your Instagram feed as well. So I have followed www.freestyle as a hashtag so that that content comes up whether or not I'm following the people who post it. Now, one of the things that I would put out to you watching this video is, what are the new hashtags that we're going to be using? Is it now MyWW? Is it like WW Blue if you're on the blue plan? Is it MyWW Blue? I still haven't gotten a feeling yet for, with the new program change, what I should be following, because it's no longer freestyle, but that is what I have followed in the past. And then I also follow some really good recipe accounts that are specifically Weight Watchers focused. Let me tell you what those are. The latest one I followed, she doesn't have a huge backlog of recipes, but it's called Running with Frosting, and it's Weight Watchers focused, and it's sort of comfort food, which seems really nice. I followed Clean Eating magazine. They are not Weight Watchers focused, but they really focus on clean eating, which tends to be like fruits, vegetables, lean protein, so I can modify some of their recipes. Same with Eatingwell magazine. They tend to have stuff that is also really good for the Weight Watchers program. Emily Bites, that's one that really does have some great recipes that is specifically like Weight Watchers points and everything are included. Skinnytaste has great recipes as well, and again, it has all the Weight Watchers points. I do follow Cookinglight magazine on Instagram. Again, it doesn't provide Weight Watchers points, but it has some really good ideas for recipes. And also drizzlemeskinny. That is also a really great website for recipes that are built using the Weight Watchers points and Weight Watchers program. Now let's get into YouTube, and I'm going to talk about these sort of starting with those ones that are very Weight Watchers specifically focused, and then getting into those ones that really aren't Weight Watchers focused, but I still find really help me with my journey. So I'd say the two main ones that I follow are Amanda Cypert. She does grocery hauls, she does meal prep for the week, and then she'll do a day of eating, and she and her partner will sort of review the meal prep that they've done. And then within those videos, especially the What I Eat in a Day video, she'll sometimes get into different topics about sort of her journey. I believe she's now following the Weight Watchers Green program, but I do find she has some really great recipe ideas, and again, has a great back catalog on her channel. And there's a few videos that have come up recently that are more about like her partner supporting her in weight loss that I really want to go back and watch, because I think those will be really good. She expresses herself very well, she's really comfortable on camera, and I really like how she approaches the videos and the great ideas that I can get from them. On the same line, I also follow Felicia Keathley. She is now pregnant, so she's not specifically following the Weight Watchers program, but she does have, again, a whole back catalog of videos, and she still, I believe, in her current videos provides Weight Watchers points on stuff, even though she very specifically says she is not currently following the program. I also follow Natasha Summar. She is a British-based YouTuber, and she has a channel that I feel like my channel very much relates to, and that like I think she started doing beauty stuff and now she's really moved into doing more Weight Watchers content. But I find her stuff, she does a number of What I Eat in a Day videos, and I find it interesting because being in a different country, I think they also have access to different recipes on Weight Watchers there, but she comes up with stuff that is really like comfort food focused and really looks really delicious. So I like following her because again, I get great inspiration for meals to prepare and things that could be really good on program. Now, if we start moving into channels that don't have a specific Weight Watchers focus, I really enjoy a channel called Jordan Shrinks. She's a woman who I think is also Canadian based, although she may live in the States sometimes, but she lost a significant amount of weight, I think over 100 pounds, and she shares a lot of like, I think she sometimes does a few What I Eat in a Day, but she's very open and very personal about her weight loss journey, about issues that she's had, about how it's affected like her body, her skin, her relationships. She is, I want to say, the word raw comes to mind, like she's unfiltered. It's not like a glossy channel, but she's super real. And I found that I really enjoy watching her content because she kind of doesn't sugarcoat stuff and she tells it like it is. She talks about, you know, how she ate when she was larger. And then she talks about dieting, and she's very honest as well about how the dieting actually led to her having some binge eating problems and then how she addressed that. So again, she's very real, very open, and talks about some things in her journey that other people don't really talk about. So I found her to be really inspirational. And also I like watching channels where you watch something and go, oh, she's talking about issues that I feel like people have but nobody else talks about, and just kind of makes it more acceptable and open. Another channel that I love, and I also follow her on Instagram, and this is so different but yet really helps me, is Stephanie Buttermore. I think she is just like so smart and so amazing and inspirational. And she basically, first of all, she is a doctor, like she did cancer research, so she is incredibly smart. But she also used to be like a fitness model, I think bikini, like did competitions and stuff, and was a very, very low body fat, you know, worked out all the time, but was having a lot of like health and hunger issues at that size. So she went into a process over the last, I think, 6 to 8 months of increasing what she was eating, not really counting calories or tracking anything, sort of eating good food until she felt satiated. And she's in a process right now where it's not about the weight, but she has gained some weight from it, and she is so strong. And I mean that in a sense of she does like lots of weight resistance training, so she is a strong person, very athletic, but she has a very personal journey of having to deal with some of the body issue things that she has, gaining weight, even though she knows it's the right thing for her health. And like 90% of the time she's loving how this is working for her and addressing some of her health and hunger issues, but being very real about having to come to terms with her new and changing body. And I find it very interesting and very helps me accept some of my own issues that I'm having when I'm watching somebody who, while I am trying to lose weight for health reasons and, you know, body acceptance reasons, a number of reasons, that she is in the process of gaining weight. And you so rarely hear about that happening because we are so focused on like diet culture and trying to be as small as possible. I also really love following her on Instagram because she does Instagram stories almost daily and is very open with when she's having hard days and what those look like, and seeing photos of herself where she doesn't necessarily like herself, but then, you know, finds a way to accept it. So I really enjoy that because it sort of shifts my mind in terms of what health looks like and not always being on the weight loss part of that. The other person that I really have enjoyed listening to lately, his name is Jordan Syatt, I believe. I will link again this down below. He is a gentleman who very fitness focused. I think a lot of his early videos were like how to do different like resistance training and weightlifting, that sort of thing. I believe he does resistance training and he does jiu-jitsu, but he's also come around to talking a lot about sort of nutrition on his channel, but he talks about being in like calorie deficits to lose weight, but is also very open about like overcoming binge eating and talking about how there's no, like, he did a month where he ate a Big Mac every day because he wanted to prove that it's about the calories that you eat. So some people like to say, oh, but you know, you shouldn't eat too much sugar, that'll make you gain weight. And his point was, if you're eating at a calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight. So he sort of said like he wouldn't recommend doing this. It's not the healthiest thing to do, but he had a Big Mac every day for a month and still lost weight because he was in a calorie deficit. But I think he is very open. When I think of binge eating and like eating disorders and those problems, I tend to think of women in that. And he has been very open about like so many more people than you think have those problems. And a lot of times people who are like in more like bodybuilding areas or training or athletics will also have a lot of binge eating problems and sort of how to overcome those. So I really like his take on things and I find him very engaging as well. And the last two people I'll talk about, because I think this is getting really long, are interesting. So one is Abbey Sharp, and she does a channel called Abby's Kitchen. She is a nutritionist, so she has some great recipes and stuff on her channel, but she comes at everything from an intuitive eating point of view. And I'll put it out there right now is she really seems to dislike Weight Watchers. So we don't necessarily agree on that. But her point is that diets don't work. Diets get you to obsess, you get into this diet mindset. And she's sort of in that area, although she's very open about how she's still learning about, you know, how do you encourage people to be healthy without encouraging people to diet, because diets don't work. She does a series, which is how I first found her, where she watches different YouTubers, what I eat in a day videos, and comes at it from a nutritionist mindset and talks about what's really good in their diets, what could be improved. And she's, you know, sort of reviewed some people who are like way out there, like Free the Banana Girl, where all she eats is fruit all day and like 3,000 calories worth of fruit. So in some cases you sort of see people who are doing these really extreme diets, which she, you know, critiques. But then I've also found people on her channel where they're doing really good diets. And I just find that her approach is very balanced and really gets you thinking about food in terms of how it nourishes your body instead of like calorie counting and like the weight loss. And she kind of calls out diet culture a lot, really sort of brings to front of mind when people are using terms about like earning their meals or deserving things or that kind of thing, which I find is really helpful in getting my mindset in the right place. And finally, the last person, and this is kind of way out there, but I really like the way she talks about things. Through Abby's kitchen, Abbey Sharp, I found the Unnatural Vegan. I am not vegan. I am not even vegetarian. I used to be vegetarian. But the Unnatural Vegan, I don't know, I just find she has a very science-set mindset. And she herself is vegan, but she is she calls it unnatural because she's not obsessive about it, and not in a sense that she eats stuff that isn't vegan, but she doesn't feel that you need to be like crazy down this rabbit hole of only eating raw fruit diets or things like that. So she's one where I really appreciate the thoughtfulness that she brings to her channel. So I do watch her videos as well, even though I'm not vegan. She will often also sort of critique other vegans who are really extreme. And she also comes at things from a mindset of not thinking about diet from a privilege point of view. Like some people think everyone should be a vegan, everyone can be a vegan. And she's very open about like, it's a kind of a privilege to be able to have the money to be a vegan because things can be very expensive or inaccessible. In any case, I enjoy her. I enjoy watching her content, and I know everything I've mentioned, some of it is very Weight Watchers focused and some of it is really not whatsoever, but I wanted to open you up to the kinds of things that I take in as the media that I enjoy, that helps me on my journey, and maybe it will help you too. So again, this video has gotten really long. I'm going to stop there, but please let me know the Instagram's handles, the Instagram hashtags and Instagram people that you follow, who you watch on YouTube, other podcasts that would be helpful. Please leave all of that down in the comments below. It really would help me out, but also be great for anybody else who's watching this video. I'd really appreciate it. If you like this, give it a thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing all of you in my next video. Bye.